Welcome to the She Births Show, a place to inspire your birth, evolve your parenting, and help you live a life you love. I'm Nadine Richardson, your host and creator of the scientifically verified birth education program, She Births. I'm also a mother, yoga teacher, doula, author, and speaker. At She Births, we have supported thousands of families around the world for over 13 years with our unique program, and our vision is to make birth better for every family around the world so that everyone experiences a beautiful birth no matter what unfolds. Not only do we help people have beautiful births, but we also give them the skills and the philosophy to enjoy pregnancy and make parenting easier. As well as our world-class birth ed, taken either face-to-face or online, in our app, we also have a free pregnancy guide designed to help you feel calm, connected, and inspired as you and your baby grow. We have a doula matching service, the perfect way to ensure you and your partner are completely supported throughout the whole journey. And we have our Soul Mama Circles, which are the perfect postpartum network to help optimize your mindset and design your life in parenthood. Remember, if you like what you hear today, subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. If you're a parent, about to be one, fellow health professional, join us now for an inspirational deep dive into topics with experts around the globe. We hope you enjoy this special episode. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 1. I'm so excited to launch this new season with our guest today, Bethany Saltman. Bethany is an author, editor, and researcher whose work has been published in The New Yorker, in Parents, and many more publications. Her new book, which is her first, Strange Situation, A Mother's Journey into the Science of Attachment, was inspired by the birth of her daughter, Azalea. Although she loved dearly, she feared that she was failing and was not the kind of mother she'd hoped to be. Bethany spent 10 years learning about the science of attachment, traveling to laboratories, doing training, reading archives, trying to discover what the essence of healthy attachment and good mothering really was. To me, her book is extraordinary. It is the thinking woman's guide to attachment. It's a helpful and healing non-self-help book. What a relief. And it is extremely well written. A pleasure to read. In our conversation today, we talk about the 3 keys to healthy attachment and how attachment has nothing to do with what you are actually doing. We discuss healing our family patterns and preparing for parenthood. Among many other incredible reviews and accolades, New Scientist called Strange Situation one of the best science books of 2020. Bethany is also a best-selling book coach, was one of the architects of America's first affirmative consent policy. She has a Master in Fine Arts and studied with Allen Ginsberg, and is a long-time Zen Buddhist student. She's devoted to the fine art and game-changing effects of paying attention. She lives in the Catskills with her husband, daughter, and 2 dogs, and I was so honoured to have her on our show. I was very touched by her presence, and you will have to excuse my tears in a few moments throughout the interview. I got up extremely early to talk to her in New York time, and sometimes just remembering the beauty and the delight of parenting brings up grief for me now at this stage of my life. But I really hope you enjoy our talk, and I really hope that you seek out her book in all good bookstores. It's also on Audible. You can read more about Bethany and her work at BethanySaltman.com or on Instagram, Bethany_Saltman. So it's Bethany, Bethany, Saltman.com, and at Bethany_Saltman on Instagram. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Bethany, to the She Beth Show, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's very exciting that you are on. I'm just so excited that someone's written a book over 10 years and not just pumped it out over COVID as a marketing scam. So it was such a pleasure to read your book. It was so rich and so powerful and had so many subtleties to it. And I was thinking over the last couple of days, so excited talking with you. I was like, has Bethany created like a new genre of books? Because it's like part memoir, part historical, part sort of scientific literature review. How would you define the book to someone who's not read it before? The Strange Situation, A Mother's Journey into Attachment. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I created a new genre. There are books like that are my favorite kind of books, really. And it's actually modeled off of my favorite book of all time, which is called 7 Seasons in Greenland by Gretel Ehrlich. And it's a totally unknown book. Nobody ever talks about it, but it is so freaking beautiful. And it's about this woman who goes to Greenland for 7 years and discovers the Inuit there. And she gets involved she unravels the history of some of the early explorers and the people that she meets and her own personal journey. And it is just so nonlinear and so beautiful. And I have it by my bedside. I just read it, occasionally all the time. And so, and she's not the only one. There are, books like Noonday Demon by the venerable Andrew Solomon, who is a friend of mine and such an incredible inspiration. That's an amazing book about him going on a journey to heal himself of depression and going around the world and learning all kinds of, learning from so many different people from around the world, all these different remedies. And writing about that. So I'd love to say I invented the genre. I'd like to say I grew into it, perhaps enlarged it a bit. I think of it as a very feminine kind of structure.
It is.
And I don't mean feminine in terms of ladylike, but, just feminine as in all in, not limited, very liminal. And very much alive,
Very much.
And so,
and it is. It's like, you're right. It's the exact same way that I don't mean to like dumb it down, but like clean the house. Like I go over to this corner and then I get a thought and I come back to my computer and then I go and do something in the garden. And then I'm like exploring layer upon layer and circling back.
Exactly.
And you have all these narratives running through it. And so it is an absolute pleasure to read. And I'm seriously not as well read as you, but I will go and read those books now because I'm fascinated by the Inuit. Absolutely. And the depression book, Andrew Solomon's book. It sounds amazing. But I mean, what was the driver for you? And did you set it out to be a sort of your own personal journey, or what was the whole story behind wanting to write this book?
Well, there are a couple of things. One is I really wanted to write a book. I had wanted to write a book for years, and I had written like 3 book proposals. The first one was really close to being bought, and then the stock market crashed, and everything went away. And that was actually a book about Christian conversion experiences.
Wow, I want to read that book. That sounds great.
I still am thinking about that book. So that book happened, and then another one, and another one. And so I really, really wanted to wrap my mind around a large bit of content. I wanted to teach myself how to write a book. But no one was buying what I was selling. So then,
because you're a poet, right? Because you're a trained poet. Yeah.
And a researcher. I was doing professional research for people, and like Andrew Solomon, that's how I met him. I was doing research for him. And so, but I'm a deep diver, like that's just what turns me on. And that's what that's what excites me. That's what I like to do. I'm a Zen Buddhist. I mean, my idea of a good time is, sitting in one place for a week and not really having to move. I love that. So the book to me was really that kind of an opportunity to sink into one topic. So that was happening. And word to, your listeners who are trying to write books, I work with book people now. I mean, I'm a book coach and I work with authors now and people wanting to become authors. And this is meant with no disrespect, but the level of impatience that people come to me with is fascinating, because I hustled for so many years before I even got the book deal. And then writing the book was such a tremendous effort. And so some people write books over COVID. Some people, manage to sort of pull things off in that way. That's not me. So I just want to send that out as an encouragement to people, and also as an invitation to be patient, practice patience.
Yeah, no, very true. And look, I'm just one of those people, and I think our audience is too, that really appreciates the depth that you have gone to and the labor of love, and you really feel it in the book. Yeah, it's like a beautiful, rich tapestry that's kind of seeping into your heart. And for me, I found it very healing, because I don't know any woman that doesn't question her style of attachment and this sort of idealized notion of the perfect child and the perfect relationship. And we struggle so much at points with like maternal rage, and we struggle with these points of like being good enough. And also a lot of us go through therapy and we try to understand our family. So you just did it so beautifully. Yeah, and I don't want to poo-poo people that do pump books out in COVID, because, that can come after 10 or 20 years of,
absolutely. And everybody's different.
I know, it was just the depth that was just such a rare thing to explore. So thank you for your devotion. Tell the audience basically, what is the strange situation, because that took a little bit of understanding even to get to in the book, some time to get to in the book, and like who Mary Ainsworth was. Because maybe if people have gone to therapy or they read a bit about attachment, they might have heard of John Bowlby. They might not have heard of Mary Ainsworth or this experiment, this amazing experiment.
Yes. So the strange situation is actually not an experiment in the formal sense, because it's not comparing two things and looking for an outcome. It's a procedure. It's a laboratory procedure that's used in order to understand an infant and a caregiver's attachment relationship. So I often say it's like an X-ray. It's like putting someone in an X-ray machine so that you can see the bones of the attachment relationship. And it was created by Mary Ainsworth, a Canadian developmental psychologist who was born in 1913. And she worked with John Bowlby in England in the 50s, and where he was coming up with his notion of attachment, which was distinct from the psychological understanding of his time and Mary Ainsworth's time, which was that, children are so-called attached to their parents because the parents feed them. It's like a very Pavlovian behaviorist kind of thing, that if a parent dies and someone is there to give the kid, meet their basic needs, that the child should be fine. And of course we know that is not true. So it's a very interesting moment in science meeting common sense. And so John Bowlby, who worked with orphans after World War II and saw this is absolutely not the case. These children are grieving their parents who they've lost. He came up with this theory of attachment based on ethology, looking at the way that geese imprint with their mama geese, or with people, whoever, but they imprint. They create a lifelong relationship that has nothing to do with who feeds them. So that's attachment. Mary Ainsworth answered an ad in the paper, got a job to work on his team, was so-so about this attachment business, but was very interested in data collection. That was in the kind of data collection that was happening at the time, which the person on her team that was doing it learned from Anna Freud's clinic. So it's this whole confluence of events and a really one of those historic moments, where all these things come together. And then her husband, she was a dutiful wife of the 1950s, which is hard for me to imagine, but she was. And her husband, who was so much less so much her lesser in terms of intellect, he was younger than her. He was a student where she was teaching, et cetera, et cetera. He got a job in Uganda and wanted to go there. And she didn't really want to go to Africa. She really wanted to get her career off the ground. But like a good wife, she went. And she said, well, let me, figure out a research project while I'm there. So she pulled together this incredible research project with 26 mothers in Uganda and their babies, discovered immediately, oh my gosh, John Bowlby was right. This is a relationship like no other. This is incredible. They were there for just a few months. And then she went to Baltimore because her husband got a job there. And she wanted to replicate the study. And so she wanted to do it with the most different population on earth to really, create that tension and prove what she wanted to prove. And so she got a bunch of suburban American mothers from a pediatrician, 26 mothers and babies, middle-class, white, suburban women. And she studied them. And she found this is absolutely true. It's fascinating. She was so detailed and meticulous in her research. And then she discovered that there were some things that didn't fit with what she saw in Uganda and in the United States. And one of the main things that didn't fit was that the babies in the United States didn't show the same fear around her. Or the other researchers. They weren't exhibiting what we understand now is called secure-based behavior. So when the researcher entered the room, the babies didn't scramble to their parents, which is what secure-based behavior is. It's that thing that animals might run to a place, people run to a person. It's your burrow, it's your den, that's your parent. And it's that secure-based behavior that shows the strength of an attachment relationship. And
so the kids in America didn't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because in Uganda, the kids did, because she was the first white person most of these kids had ever seen. She was a very strange stranger. And so she said, okay, I need to equal this out somehow. I need to understand, why is this such a huge difference? I mean, I'm not goosebumping. I've talked about this so many times, but every time I'm just like, oh, this woman
awesome.
Is mine. I know, it truly is. And so she said, okay, her and some of her students who came up with the strange situation together in half an hour said, why don't we create a situation that's strange for these American babies to goose their attachment systems a little bit and see if they act more like the babies in Africa did. So that's what they did. They created a 20-minute situation where a baby and the caregiver, the baby and the caregiver go into a room that has toys. It's really normal. And as soon as the baby goes in, you see what kind of a baby this is. Are they tentative? Are they running around? So you get a sense for their temperament. And then a series of strange things happen. A stranger comes in, you watch the baby then. The mother leaves, you watch the baby then. The mother returns, you watch the baby then. The mom leaves again. So there's 8 episodes where you watch the baby. And the thing that you're really looking for is the reunion behavior. When the mother or the caregiver returns, does the baby go to the parent and use the parent as a secure base? Is the attachment healthy? That's what the researchers are looking at. And so within that 20-minute period, we can see, and usually the strange situation is done with babies about 1 year old. And you can see it's like a crucible, the heart of what that first year was like. And interestingly, you can very much see into a child's future. Wow. Not that it's destiny, and it's really not, but things have a tendency to move in the same direction unless we change them. So if a baby has a very secure attachment by the age of 1, in all likelihood, they will have a lifetime of secure attachment. Doesn't mean they're not going to suffer because that is human, but they will have that the resilience of a secure attachment, of knowing where their bread is buttered, I like to say, of knowing how to take care of themselves in a relationship. And there's so much room for, quote, failure or rupture within a secure attachment. And it's so important that people hear that. Because when we talk about this, we hear something that's so extreme, it's not even real. But a secure attachment just means that the baby goes to the mother and is soothed.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the primary caregiver. It can be a father.
Yes, exactly. Excuse me. Yeah. But in Mary's time, it was always mothers.
It's always
so
mom,
I'm so steeped in that. But
you go
absolutely
deep into that. Yeah. Into all those other.
Anybody, no, that has absolutely no bearing, whether it's biological, non-biological. This is true for adopted children, non-neurotypical children. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful
Thank you for explaining that. Yeah, it is a profound and beautiful thing. Yeah, there's so much. Okay. I'm going to try and just simplify things, because I understand that people haven't read the book yet, and everyone has to read the book, and it has to become one of those ones on the nightstand with the Inuit book for sure. I really I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around attachment, and it is a really hard concept to get. Like, there's these 3 types and there's the 8 subsets, and you were so lucky. I think you were lucky to go and be able to study and to watch all the videos of these strange situations and do all these assessments. I would have loved personally to have taken me and Leroy into the procedure when he was 1. And I went and did a gimmicky kind of quiz online. I think you said there were some, to find out your attachment style and all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting. But I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. A lot of people think it's really healthy for a child, say, for example, to not cry when mum leaves them at daycare for the first time. And a lot of people think that, if you're co-sleeping, you are doing the right thing for attachment's sake. But it's not as simple as that. And I liked how you brought in this word delight. That just kind of gave me a central core knowing and understanding of what good attachment was, as well as co-regulation, mentalization, those things. Would you say they're the 3 core things to healthy attachment?
Yeah, that's a great summary. Yeah. Co-regulation, mentalization, and delight. Absolutely. Because those are all co-regulation is what's happening between in the dyad, between the child and the caregiver, which often creates a feeling of delight. I mean, it is delightful to be co-regulated.
Yeah.
But it also creates an ability for an individual to delight in their own experience. And that is my favorite part of this whole thing. And mentalization happens when you're seen and regulated by an adult who is regulated and can mentalize. I mean, this is just like a house of mirrors in the best sense. It's scary because we know we fall short with our children because it's human to be imperfect. But there is so much value in getting to know ourselves and getting to know how we butter our own bread or don't, because that's what we're passing down to our children, like it or not. That's what they're getting from us. There's really, it's such an incredibly powerful reality that it's this inner. So to the sleeping question, attachment has absolutely nothing to do with what you do as a parent, and everything to do with how you feel as a parent. So you can be co-sleeping and delighting in it, and that's going to be amazing for everybody. You can be co-sleeping and exhausted and resenting, and that's going to be crappy for everybody. And that's true for each and every one of these sort of boxes that we think we want to check. Like we get so fixated on like organic food and amazing holidays and making everything like pretty and whatever for our kids. That doesn't matter. When it comes to attachment, it does not matter.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's how do you feel and how do you delight? Like you can go to McDonald's and be delighting with your child. And the thing that's really going to empower them over time to maybe make healthier decisions as they go down the road is that they have delight in their lives and in their bodies. Now, you could talk about like emotional eating and all kinds of couplings that might happen in that scenario, but that's not the point.
No, I think every mum, I hope every mum knows in their heart that feeling of delight, and
not everybody does because we haven't all gotten it from our parents.
Yeah.
So I always work with people to try to have them, or they have it, but they don't recognize it, or they don't think it means anything,
Wow. Okay.
So like, that's why I bring up like the McDonald's example, or Azalea, my daughter and I, we love to watch Real Housewives, all the reality TV. It's trashy, it's goofy, but it's like we delight in it together. And so I really try to encourage people to just get in touch with what delights them. Just find delight. Just find delight, whatever it is. And then once you start to, it's like a muscle, once you start to develop that capacity to feel your delight, to feel your own pleasure, then you can start to feel it for your child. And you start to index on that more. And you start to notice like, oh, he's so cute when he does that. That other stuff is super annoying, but like, let's just keep, trying to find the delight. And, it's hard. It is not easy, but it's accessible, it's doable, and it is incredibly impactful. This is not some like light little bit of advice. This is hardcore helpful. If we can learn to delight in our babies, it'll change everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And it changes us and who we are, and it's healing. And I think this is where the reparenting and the healing part, and like you spoke about, sitting with John Kabat-Zinn and the ability to self-reflect. There's a lot of spirituality and, like you say, that growth of self that is so important in being a parent. And that's an opportunity there to heal.
Indeed.
Yeah. And did you find the whole process for yourself? I mean, I imagine healing. I mean, because of your relationship with your mum, do you feel like everything changed in your mind, in your perspective?
Yep.
And in reality too, in the dynamics with your mum? Or
everything. I went into writing the book thinking that I had an insecure attachment. And because of that what I enjoyed about my mother wasn't enough, that all the complaints that I had were valid. And of course they're valid. But what I learned through this process is that it was just a total like light switch moment of like, oh my God, what I always thought was my problem is actually like a great source of power. My ability to feel my pain so deeply is my obsessed desire to value love and attachment. So much of the anguish that I felt over the years because I felt like relationships weren't enough is an indication of how much I care. Yeah. And so everything truly turned around. That's why I'm like, a zealot for this, because I just want people to see it in the other ways that we tend to, especially women, especially mothers, just so freaking hard on ourselves.
Yeah, totally.
And on the women in our lives.
Yeah, that's true as well. Very true. I can hardly talk because it brings me to tears. Yeah, because it's so powerful, that relationship and that love and that delight. And it changes you so much. Yeah, it's really early in the morning here for those people. If we keep this in the episode. So there's like a vulnerability, and I just got my periods. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm really touched too. It's, I mean, just what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
This is it.
It is, right? And I think, the spiritual path of motherhood even has become a part of pop culture in a way. But to me, the feminine hero's journey, the birth journey that I work with, the triumph, the warrior's path is really to come to a greater place of love. And that's the feminine. Yeah. And then that's the healing through having a child. Yeah, I think I'm just really present to, how much being a mum has changed me and how grateful I am. And I miss it. Yeah. I do miss it. Not having my son here. It's more, to me, I'm gone more into my monastic kind of energy as a very spiritual person. But as a mum, that delight surprised me so much. And I just loved it. I was obsessed. I was so young and obsessed. And
where is your son now?
He's in Sydney. Yeah.
Is he grown?
Yeah, he's nearly 20. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now for a quick break. At She Births, the mother is at the centre of everything we do. We believe that birth and matrescence is a sacred rite of passage, and we believe that the journey is unique for everyone. Wherever you are in your journey, She Births is here to support you. Starting with our free pregnancy guide, which offers you 6 months of weekly support. You will receive nourishment for body, mind, and soul via your inbox and engage with content within our free app. Enjoy yoga videos, recipes, birth affirmations, course discounts, and so much more to help you feel calm, connected, and inspired for birth. Sign up online to our free pregnancy guide on our website, shebirths.com, and download our free app today in any app store.
Oh, the heartache. I mean, my daughter is 15. It's, I just feel it. It's like, oh my God, so much is changing so fast.
Yeah.
And, we're still here. She's still here. We're still together, but it's so different.
Yeah.
And, oh God, it's like melancholia, like through the roof.
It's epic. It's like breathing in the lead up. And in a sense, the lead up to the goodbye, is harder than the actual shift away. But I always say to my families, all you get is 16 summers. Just think of it as 16 summers, to create those memories, those times, those photo albums, and of course there's a million moments. And someone said to me, but what about the winters? And I'm like, well, we live in Australia. They're important too, but like the summers are it, right? The big holidays. So I think when people think about those 16 summers, they realize how short it is. And in a sense, really only 13 summers of actual influence, because once they're 13 in our culture, it's a real handover to peers as the great influence.
Wow. And 13?
Yeah, by the time I started high school, the exposure was phenomenal to the external world, sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of thing. And therefore, there was still a dialogue, which I was very grateful for. We do have everyone says you guys have an extraordinary relationship. Why do you have that? Maybe it is because there was so much delight. I don't know. I think we were also quite similar in our personalities. But I'm there as his sounding board. So co-regulating still at points as well. But yeah, I think the influential part is kind of done. And then, when you listen to these developmental psychologists, you're like, well, it's done by, year 5 or by year 3 or in the first year.
Yeah, I don't agree. I mean, attachment is not a destiny. And I don't know if you've heard of the therapist and writer Gordon Neufeld. He wrote this wonderful book with Gabor Mate, who's really having a moment.
We love Gabor Mate. Oh my God.
Yeah, he wrote this book with Gabor Mate called "Hold On to Your Kids: Why Parents Need to Matter More Than Peers." And
yes, I have heard of that. Yeah.
For me and my husband in raising Azalea, and this whole idea that exactly what you're saying, you're turning your kids over by 13. I have not turned Azalea over. She's 15 and she's still just now, she's almost 16. And just now I feel like, okay, she's really starting to be peer oriented. And that's great because she has had 16 years of really being cooked with us. I haven't bought it that 13-year-olds should be raising 13-year-olds.
No, that's right. They shouldn't be. God damn it. Way.
Right. No, exactly. And so I'm sure you were not, agreeing with that, but there is such a, in the States for sure, such a thing about well, what can you do? The kid's a teen and of course they're going to be mouthy and rude and not pay attention to you. And I just don't think, I think that we give up on our kids way too early and that they deserve to have us until they're not ready to do anything. Not. Well, they're like 17.
Yeah. That is true. That is really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just remember, I don't know if I've told this story before, but when Leroy came home one day from school and we were just, ducked down to the ocean below our apartment, for a little swim. And we're just out there and it was 6 months into high school. So he's 13 and a half. And he's like, oh, yeah, met the local drug dealer today at school, Mum. And I'm like, did you? He's like, wow, you'd be amazed what you can get for $30. It's amazing. You can get blah, 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 blah. And you just keep your poker face on. And, that's how it rolls. And then to hear about, So I suppose in a sense, the exposure is phenomenal. And I think that's actually happening in all schools, public, private, whatever, because of our friend, the internet. But at the same time, Leroy felt safe enough to have all these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that is incredibly important. And then you are fully handing things over to peers as well. Absolutely. Yeah. God, what do you, I suppose, feel is the essence, apart from the delight, what do you feel is the most important thing for a mum to understand about her relationship with her children and her mum or caregivers as well? What do you think most people don't understand and need to know, say, before they become a parent? Because there's a lot of pregnant people that listen to this. What could they do perhaps in the lead up?
Learn to meditate.
Yeah, great. Right. Yeah.
Learn and begin to really investigate the resistance to, now there's self-care, Manny and petty self-care. And then there's deep self-care as in self-knowing. And And if you don't think you have time for therapy or yoga or meditation, whatever it is that you do that brings you into yourself, now is the time to investigate that resistance, because your baby needs you to be present more than it needs you to be there, if you know what I mean.
I do. I think that's a really great way to describe it. And could you just explain, I suppose we touched on it, the mentalization, and mindfulness, and to me, it sort of lands like the ability to self-reflect or the ability to sit with oneself, maybe. What would you say mentalization is?
Yeah, well, another word for it is reflective functioning. So the ability when you're in an experience with someone to say, oh, those are my thoughts, and I don't actually know what that person is thinking, but this is how they make me feel. And that capacity to know what you yourself are thinking and feeling is the most important ingredient to having a successful life.
Wow.
Because it prevents projecting, wrong interpretation, not being able to be close to people. You can only be close to someone who's close to themselves. When people are cold and distant, they're going to have a cold and distant life.
Yeah.
And so we reap exactly what we sow inside of ourselves. That's just the truth of the matter. And, I studied Buddhism before I started studying attachment, and it's just been incredible to see how these two worlds connect like mirror images of each other. Perfect harmony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, to learn to see yourself means you can see other people, because you're not constantly projecting and idealizing and playing these weird games. And, we do it, but we see ourselves do it, and then we can pull ourselves back, and then we can, so it's a constant process. It's not like we ever reach some Shangri-La experience of like, wow, now I'm enlightened and I no longer mistake myself for you. But, so like if you are, to bring it down into an example, like when our kids are driving us crazy, we think it's them. We think that they need to, or here's an even better example. Like when you're afraid, I think about this all the time with Azalea, who's 15, almost 16. When I get anxious about her maybe doing, like not studying in school, or, something in a sport, or she's not winning, or whatever it is, like I think that I'm concerned about her, but I'm concerned about myself, because I'm concerned about me, A, having to deal with a disappointed kid. That's going to be a pain in the ass for me. B, some kind of ego wound. C, not getting my own need met. I mean, that's an ego thing, but there's so many varieties of narcissistic wounds that our children elicit in us.
Yeah.
And so instead of me just like becoming aggressively, determined to create a certain experience for her that I can tell myself a story is for her sake, I can understand like, okay, this is me. I'm afraid of this outcome because I don't want to deal with it. So then I can have a clearer sense of like, okay, what does Azalea really need right now? Because my goal is actually to help her become herself. I know that. I'm not always good at it because I get in the way, but until I have the capacity to see my own feelings, I will forever be getting in her way.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my spiritual teachers describes being a parent, and I love some of, Kabat-Zinn's words as well, but one of my teachers said, our job is to help them clear their karma and find their dharma.
Oh, that's great.
It's a good one, right? It is a really simple, and he's got 10 kids. So yeah,
Jesus, that's another matter there.
Yeah. But like, and when he's with his children, he's intensely present and delighted. You know, they do have this wonderful, extraordinary bond. And it is about how much can you get out of the way to allow their beauty to shine through. I feel another part of successful parenting or happier parenting or long-term beautiful relationships with our children comes from seeing them as intelligent beings. Mm-hmm. So not as separate to us, but individual and intelligent.
Oh, yeah. So true.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of Janet Lansbury's work.
Yes.
She's a friend of mine and incredible, respectful parenting. She's amazing on Instagram. Everybody who is pregnant and or have babies must go follow her and find her. She is the queen of this, of learning how to see that your baby is an autonomous being and that it doesn't have to be this thing of like you doing everything. I wish that I had known about her work when Azalea was a baby. It would have helped me so much. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good point and something that I'm working on all the time. You know, we really assume that children are non-autonomous and not intelligent. And it's so wrong.
I think it's a beautiful journey to begin in the pregnancy. I suppose we start that in she births, like relating to their intelligence in the womb. Like it's been studied and shown like women who stroke their bellies tend to have a better relationship with their baby on the other side because in a sense they're regulating, they're connecting.
And they're delighting.
Yeah, they're delighting. That's right. That's true. And they're relating to a being that's not here, but is here, really, of course, in existence. There's so much beauty in that. Yeah. I'm just kind of touched and also watching Django, my dog, just did a vomit on the floor. That's nice. Out of life. It's not a baby, but now we have a sausage dog that just, I don't know what he ate last night in the garden. So gross. Sorry, guys. Is your mum happy with the book?
Oh, wow. She tries to be, but she's very not happy.
Because she's so loved in the book. She's explored. She's sort of stripped bare, but she's loved, you know.
She doesn't see it that way. And she's so proud of me. I mean, talk about someone who's able to have mixed feelings. She's a freaking rock star. She feels humiliated. She hates the way she's portrayed. But she is totally proud of me, loves me, and is willing to, you know, she's not mad, but she's not happy. Put it that way.
Just for the exposure. It's that kind of exposure.
She feels like, you know, there are little things where she's like, that's not right. You know, I didn't feed you that for your lunches, you know, little things like that. And I'm like, Mom, don't sweat the small stuff. Okay.
Yeah. She turned out to be a great mom.
Indeed. And there, as I'd like to remind her, there is a lot that we could have gotten into that I did not. So let's leave well enough alone and be grateful that things turned out as they did.
Yeah. Well, I think you're very brave to write about family as well as your own life and your relationships. I think it's very brave to do that. Yeah. And you've got lots of exciting things on, you know, the horizon right now. Tell us what you're most passionate about right now. What are you feeling drawn to? Because you're such a creative. What are you doing?
Well, I'm actually working on a screenplay. I've taught myself. I'm in the process. I can't believe I just said I've taught myself. I'm learning how to write a screenplay. I haven't even been a movie person or a TV person in my life. There are things that I'm obsessed with, like The Sopranos. I love The Sopranos. There are some movies I like The Piano. Oh my God, like the best movie of all time. But I don't have like a wild breadth of knowledge or even experience. But what happened was that there was some interest in Strange Situation being adapted to television or film. And that's, you know, I'm not sure what's happening with that, probably nothing, and that's fine. But it inspired me to learn a little bit about the screenwriting world. And so I took a class and I thought that I was just sort of doing it out of COVID kind of fun. But then I became totally hooked and I'm so intrigued with the way that scripts work, because it all has to be through the senses. You can't rely on a narrator to tell the story. It has to be experienced by the viewer or the reader. And that just really stuck in my craw. So now I'm working on a script about a young woman who goes to a Zen monastery and has very complex reactions to the teacher there. And it's a journey of her learning how to trust herself. It's really been, so I'm working with a mentor who is just, talk about delight. He's amazing. And I'm taking classes and I'm working on it just in the morning because I have a day job. I work with authors and I work with companies and I do a lot during the day, but in the evening, in the mornings, early mornings, I'm working on this script. And I wish I had more time to do it, but I'm grateful that I have that much time. It's so fun and hard, so freaking hard, so hard.
Yeah, right. I just, you probably just highlighted that other element of the feminine hero's journey is trusting self as well. That sort of, it's the other side of the coin, isn't it? Like self-love, trust self.
Yep.
That is really the big one. And I got really excited when I read that in your newsletter about, the monastery and the male-female dynamics. Please dive into that. That would be really interesting.
Oh, I am. And it's great to get encouragement because it's one of these things is like, why the heck am I doing this? There is no good reason. And I'm not good at it. I'm 52 years old and I'm a complete novice. I suck. I mean, my dialogue is terrible. It's hard, but I just feel like I tell my clients, it's a story I cannot stop telling. I really have no choice in the matter. And thank goodness I have wonderful teachers who are kind of guiding me. But I'm so here for support. So I'm really glad that excites you because I'm hungry.
Yeah, and just hearing you express that is an inspiration and a teaching for other people. The story you can't stop telling. You don't know why, like that's the calling, like that's the place to go. And that's where the mystery will unfold and the juice will occur and you will become alive and evolution will, expand. Absolutely. And I actually think Strange Situation would make an extraordinary movie. I was talking to a girlfriend last night who put me onto your book. And she said, I can just see like Meryl Streep as Mary Ainsworth in Africa, exactly. With all the lollies in her bag and the cigarettes and like you can just see it.
Goosebumps head to toe right now. That is my vision exactly. So the idea of the adaptation would be, did you see Julie and Julia?
Yes. That was gorgeous.
Like a Julie and Julia kind of thing. So it's Bethany at home toiling away but with like a very kind of, what's the word? Like supernatural kind of element where magical realism kind of thing where Bethany and Mary get to meet. And there's like a lot of fun stuff in there. But oh my God, I love that your friend said that because yes, it's Meryl Streep in Africa being Mary.
Yeah, totally.
Like Meryl Streep.
There's a silly one that sort of crosses over in time, but I really enjoyed it and it was well done by BBC called Lost in Austen because I'm a huge Jane Austen fan. So where she goes from modern time London through a door past her shower into Jane Austen times. And that's a lovely crossover as well. Yeah.
I'm writing that down. I am a huge Jane Austen fan. Oh my gosh.
Of course. And meeting Mr. Darcy is just the best.
Oh my gosh.
Well, should hold that flame for Strange Situation because and anyone, who picks it up and is looking for the real insights into attachment, into your own heart and soul of parenting will absolutely love. I think it's the thinking woman's helpful guide by not being a self-help book. And that's why it's so intelligent and beautiful and that we could go down so much more because you go into epigenetics and you go into trauma and you go into the impact of bad attachment on, health, Oh my God, that's such an interesting chapter. So we won't go into that today. I'm just going to encourage everyone to pick up your book and enjoy it. And let's hold the flame of that being made into a series or a movie so that even more people can reach it and
absolutely
discover delight.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's a really important message too, because, you know, like you're saying, it's the female hero's journey of Mary and of me, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if there are any producers out there, directors or anybody,
come to Australia. We're the movie hub of the world, just where I am, just up the road, you know, come on out.
Are you kidding me? I would love to go to Australia. And when the book came out and COVID hit, I was interviewed by, I think I told you this, by the Australian, like ABC or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something in Sydney. And it was absolutely the best interview I have ever had, aside from these amazing long podcasts. Well, no, I mean, seriously, like usually these news things are super duper short and people
really punchy. Yeah.
But oh my gosh. And she said, well, we're going to try to get you here for the Sydney Writers Festival.
Oh, which is here in my town where I am, literally Byron. But you need to come to the Byron Bay Writers Festival, which was cancelled this year, but next year it'll happen.
Exactly. But so now my book is old, et cetera, but that is a dream of mine. I'm obsessed and would absolutely love it. So who knows?
Yeah. Putting it out there for sure. Lighten the flame, the power of the feminine. And this is a very fertile ground here for all ideas to flourish. Yeah.
I feel that. I really am drawn to that part of the world very much.
Yeah. It's pretty magic here. It is special.
Yeah. I feel that. So yeah, maybe I'll make it out there someday. It would be so wonderful to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Come and hang out. It's gorgeous. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to say to all the families out there and that are listening?
Gosh, just, you're doing God's work. However you take that. You're doing goddess's work.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And just, notice the shame that arises and know that that is not you. It's not true. It's patriarchy. And it's not helpful. Beating yourself up for any of it, even when you make huge mistakes, and I have made huge mistakes, continue to make them on the daily, kicking yourself and that sort of negative shame spiral is really not going to help. And instead, turning toward the light, turning toward delight, getting back on the horse, looking at your child, looking at yourself can change history.
Yeah, that's right. It can. Yeah. And investing in true self-care because you're worth it and your family is worth it too. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. It is an investment. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Go be with your azalea. And have a beautiful afternoon. And we will see you soon in Byron Bay.
Oh, that is a fun invitation.
You're welcome anytime.
Okay. Take care.
I'm Nadine Richardson, and you've been listening to the She Births Show. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. We'd love to know what you would like to hear more of. You can find me and my team of amazing doulas and educators at shebirths.com and our awesome community on Instagram and Facebook. Within any good app store, you can download our free pregnancy guide via She Births, 2 separate words and plural, as well as access a range of online courses. Remember, when it comes to having a better birth, an easier transition into parenthood, your education is your empowerment. Don't forget to check out the catalogue of previous podcasts, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the show.